Hello, everyone. My name is Andreas Tank, and I'm a libertarian anarcho capitalist from Germany. English is not my native language, so I apologize if I don't pronounce everything correctly. That's just how my mouth works. At least I hope I don't sound too much like Klaus Schwab. Recently, I got in contact with Libertarian Europe, a website with great articles about libertarianism across Europe, and I would love to create some kind of connection between us because well, the communists do that, the new right is doing that, why shouldn't we? I'm interested in a lot of topics about libertarianism. I watch almost everything from the Mises Institute in the USA, but I have absolutely no idea about libertarians in countries like France or Spain. But I would love to get their perspective, so I hope this can be the basis for the exchange of ideas. So, first, I would like to take you on a trip around Germany and what's wrong right now. It's basically everything. We're fucked. I'm serious. Europe, take a step back. Germany is going insane again. I don't even know where to start. I thought a lot about this. Therefore, let me start with an anecdote. The other day, I was in this bar with my friend Mike, who is an ice hockey player, like 2 meters tall, very muscular, the type of guy you wouldn't want to make angry. And Mike normally does not drink, but they won a game and he drank too much, so he had to throw up. He ran to the bathroom and there was only one stall that was locked. And in his head, Mike just thought there was someone inside who just wants to prevent him from entering. So he got angry and kicked in the door. Of course, there was only this innocent person sitting on the toilet and taking a dump, and Mike puked all over him. After that, he had this totally clear thought: oh shit, if I would be the one sitting on the toilet and someone came in and puked all over me, I would get very upset and punch him in the face. To prevent the other guy from doing that, Mike just punched the other guy first. Right in the head, knocked him unconscious. Imagine being that guy. You are sitting on the toilet, mind your own business, and suddenly a huge guy kicks in your door, pukes all over you, and punches you in the face. To get this straight, this story never happened. I copied it from the internet. But my friend Mike is the German government, and the poor guy on the toilet is the German taxpayer. Now, let's get back on solids. In 2008, the subprime crisis started, and German politicians, with a strong connection to the European Union, decided that there are banks that are just too big to fail. They are relevant for the system. Of course, not saying it's their system, not ours. So they bailed them out with the money of the taxpayers. On the other side, there are the poor people of Greece that are suddenly forced by their government to decrease their spending drastically and increase the taxes for the normal citizens. I saw polls around Twitter where people all over the world should guess which people in Europe are the hardest working, and almost every country answered Germany. If there are people from Greece watching, we know. We know what our government and yours have done to you, and that by now you have to work longer hours and pay much more from your income, which is really, really unfair. Just wanted to let you know that there are people in Germany who don't believe the lies of their government, but who know the truth. And all I can tell you is the same I tell everyone: overthrow your government, or at least try to get your politicians to exit the European Union. The European Union is driven by socialists, nationally and internationally, but overall by the most frightening people the world has ever seen. However, that was 2008. Let's go to 2011. Fukushima, a nuclear power plant in Japan, had a meltdown because of a tsunami. And even though German nuclear power plants are much safer and we don't have tsunamis in Germany, Angela Merkel decided that we will turn off our nuclear power plants, which actually happened last year. Angela Merkel strangled Germany for 16 years, gave a lot of sovereignty away to the European Union, and the only thing she was interested in is getting into office again. By this means, she did everything the German press said what was right. This is one of the biggest problems we are facing in Germany, because we have a directly controlled government media that gets more money each year than the whole institution of Hollywood. Every household has to pay 1836 euros per month, and this adds up to close to 10 billion each year. The Green Party, which is very strong not only in politics but also in media, started as anti-nuclear movement and is undermined by communists. And I'm not just stating this from a libertarian perspective. I am serious. You will find hammer and sickle symbols on their demonstrations and a close connection to Antifa. Because the Green Party started as an anti-nuclear movement, they could not even put that aside when it went to apocalyptic scenarios with climate change and CO2. So they wanted to get rid of both, which is a contradiction. But at this time, almost everything every politician is saying is a contradiction. So we almost completely shut off our energy supply. No one protested even after the Nord Stream pipelines were damaged. The prices for electricity are skyrocketing, and we are importing electricity from nuclear power plants in France. And at this time, I would really like to know how people from France watch this problem. Do you make fun of Germany, or are you frightened that this will lead someday to a blackout all across Europe? Please tell me, I would really love to know. Well, then, of course, there is 2015 and the migrant crisis. This all started in Hungary when Viktor Orban, who is greatly admired by our right wing party, asked if he should tell the migrants to get back where they came from or if he should let them cross the country. But he made clear that he was not willing to let them stay. So Angela Merkel said her famous sentence, "Wir schaffen das, we will do it." And that gave them the signal to come to Germany. By German law, this is illegal. But again, the European Union set that law out of effect, and we are living under these conditions till this very day. Our crime statistics are skyrocketing. Pretty much every bigger city in Germany has more foreigners than Germans, and the police is for the first time in their life fighting crimes like murder or rape in open streets, which had basically never happened before. At this place, I would like to particularly ask people from Sweden, Italy, and Hungary about their perspective. Sweden, because they took a lot of migrants, Italy, because of the situation with Meloni and Lampedusa, and Hungary, because I would just like to know if you are just shaking your heads and asking yourself how a government can do something like that. But in this case, for the exchange of ideas, I don't want to exclude anybody. I would love to hear the situation from every country. Next topic is, of course, the COVID pandemic, the lockdowns, and the surveillance, which went pretty bad for Germany as well. They printed billions of money and gave that to BioNTech. We had our own version of Anthony Fauci, which is Christian Drosten, and the health minister who lied when he opened his mouth is still in the current health ministry. If you ask me, COVID was the first test to see how far they could go, but that's just my 2 cents of the issue. We had a great libertarian YouTuber who unfortunately died of cancer, and he talked to people all over the world how the COVID measures were in their country. So I'm pretty well informed about that topic. For those of you who have no idea about the German version of parliament, let's give me a short introduction. The left-wing party has renamed themselves several times, and the latest version is Bündnis Sarah Wagenknecht, focusing on their leader. These people are straight up communists. This was actually the same party that was in the unified party in Eastern Germany who gave the orders to shoot everyone who tries to flee the country. Then there's the Green Party, which are socialists with a green touch. The average Green Party member is uninformed about absolutely everything. They have no education. They are in favor of everything between gender as a social construct and pedophilia, and it's impossible to argue with any one of them. Well, then, of course, there are the Social Democrats. They are starting to become more and more irrelevant, but they still have their voters who voted for them for decades, and they are incredibly rich. Then there is the Christian Democratic Party, but the Christian is only in their name. This was once the party of Konrad Adenauer, right after the Second World War, and of Ludwig Erhard, who produced the economic miracle by getting rid of price controls. But this was back in the 50s, and now we had 16 years of Angela Merkel, who was educated in politics under Helmut Kohl, our Chancellor of Reunification, and since she is a straight-up socialist, she was one of the few people who did not flee the GDR, but moved there. She made this former conservative right-wing party to a party of the center and made room on the right. By the most recent events, there is this guy called Markus Krall who wrote books and gave speeches with crash prophecies in the banking sector, who currently wants to establish a new party from the conservative right wing inside the Christian Democratic Party. He's claiming to be the German Javier Milei, and he is in alliance with the former president of the Verfassungsschutz, that's basically the Feds and intelligence service in Germany. He was fired in 2018, and now he and Markus Krall might crush the Christian Democratic Party from within. Well, we will see how that works out. The room to the right of the Christian Democratic Party is now filled by the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland, who, at least in politics, are trying to get right-wing ideology and libertarian minarchist positions together. A lot of libertarians trust the AfD. I personally don't. I think they will probably turn out to govern a little bit like Donald Trump. Promise a lot, but don't implement too much of it. However, we have elections in the eastern German states. In eastern Germany, they have the highest percentage of votes, as recent polls show. Since Germany has already suffered under real socialism, you might ask why people don't wake up, and that's a really complicated question. Especially in Eastern Germany, you should not underestimate how much people still vote for the left-wing parties, simply because they say, not everything was bad under socialism, at least we have safe jobs. And on the other hand, what drives them the most is the migrant crisis. They just don't want that, and they want to have them out, but they don't seem to care that much about the economic situation. Because our politics situation is so screwed up and the government just keep pushing into more taxes, more surveillance, more suppression of the people, the AfD will sooner or later get the power, and it's hard to tell what will happen then. So that's politics. Let me just tell you at least a little bit more about libertarianism in Germany. We have a Mises Institute, which is publishing articles and makes conferences since 2013. The biggest libertarian magazine sells about 20,000 copies 11 times a year. We have higher clubs all across the country, two really small libertarian parties, the Party of Reason and the Libertarians. Great Austrian libertarians from Germany are not even teaching in Germany. Jörg Guido Hülsmann and Karl Friedrich Israel teach in France, Philipp Bagus teaches in Spain, and Anthony P. Müller teaches in Brazil. Hans-Hermann Hoppe lives in Turkey, and the only guy that is famous for Austrian economics across borders and still lives and teaches in Germany is Thorsten Polleit. But still, there is an active libertarian community in Germany, especially for a much younger audience. Our followers have increased more in the last 3 years than in the last 30s before. There are books, audiobooks, YouTubers, podcasts, and meetups, and if you like to get in touch with them, like you want to visit Germany and meet other libertarians, or you want to join us on Discord, just leave me a comment. I will gladly establish a connection. One of the fastest growing community in German are the Bitcoiners. They gave themselves the name 21, so 21, because of 21 million Bitcoins. And it is always a pleasure to meet them. Of course, they are interested in Bitcoin and not that much in politics, but there is always a good connection. Well, so by now, I hope I gave you some information about Germany you did not know before. I don't want to talk too long. I don't even know who is interested in this, but I hope I can make some connections with fellow libertarians all across Europe. Please share this video to your libertarian friends if they live in Europe. And please give me a comment if there are more things you want to know about Germany from a libertarian perspective. But what's even more interesting to me, please tell me about the situation in your country. Do you have a libertarian party? What books do you read? How connected are you? How strong is your government? And what do you do to weaken them? I would love to share tactics and see what works and what does not. Since my government is going completely insane again, there are a lot of libertarians talking about leaving the country. And especially in this case, I would like to know if you know a place where a lot of libertarians live and you could have a quiet and peaceful time. Let me close this video by teaching you 2 German phrases. Steuern sind Raub. That's the German version of taxation is theft, but we say robbery and not theft. And the second, werdet unregierbar, that's the German version of become ungovernable. Goodbye.